Hello guys, welcome back to the second part of the series, Code Application Using Object-Oriented Programming. In this part, we will be working on our product model. So before wasting more time, let's do it. First of all, we have to open our PHP tags. Then we will create our class product. Inside that, I will create a private variable for our database connection. After that, I will create a construct function. So whenever we call this class, it should execute this function. Let's pass the database, MySQLi, and connection. Then we will return our database connection from the function. All right. Next, let's create a public function that will be paginate. So we will be using this function to search for the products from database. Inside this function, I have create item array. Now we will create the if statement and check if there is something inside search variable. Then we will create some format and now we will create our statement. Here we will type our query and we are selecting the columns from database. So if the user try to search for any product, it will fetch those records and display them on the front end. Next, we will bind those variables. Now I'm gonna copy that statement and paste that here. Now let's update this. So let me fix this. This is items, not item. Now we have to execute these statements. Then we need to get those results and we will loop through using while loop. Now we have to assign those records to items array. And then we will close the statement and return items. And if you have noticed that we got the error up here in the array, so it's because we did not return any items. That's why it was showing the error. After that, we have to create some more functions. So let's do that. Now we have to create the count function. We are passing the search parameter. Then inside this, we will use the if else statement. So if we have something inside search variable, it's gonna execute this. Let me copy from here and now let me paste that here. Let's update the query. Then we will type the count and using static we will count all the records inside the table. Then we will check for those records which is like name or like description. Let's update the bind parameter and remove the limit and the offset. In the else, we will be checking for all records. Now, same we have to execute this statement. So I'm going to copy this and paste that here. Now we have to do some modification here. We don't need the while loop. And here, let's create the count. And we will assign the result fetch associate. We are fetching those records and we are assigning those to the count variable. Now let me change this to count. And that's it for this function. Now we have the count function, we have the paginate function. After that, we have to create the find function. So inside find function, let me grab the statement from, not from here. Let me check in the pagination. Yeah, let's grab that statement and paste that inside here. Now we have to update our query. So after that, let's find the parameters. Because we have only one parameter, we will be binding that with I. And then we will execute and get the results. The best thing about the object-oriented programming that once you write the basic functions, you can use that functions later and you don't have to do a lot of coding. You just need to modify those functions according to your needs. So now you will see me how I copy and paste and modified those functions. As you can see, I just changed the SQL query and then I changed the bind parameters. And we got the error. So what we are missing here, we are missing the function. All right, after that we have to create our update function. So let's create that. For the update, we need ID and data. So we are passing ID and data parameters. And then we have to update our query. Next, we just have to change the bind parameters and let's add the ID here. So our update function is done. Now we have to create delete function. And that's it for the delete function. So we have all the required functions here and we can use these functions inside our product controller. So in the next video, we will be covering this file, which is product controller. And for now, I will see you in the next video.